Disgrace deepens. Andrew stripped of all titles, except one. Why is the Ministry of Defense delaying? The chilling warning ahead of the imminent Epstein document dump. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the stalled stripping of the final title and the looming Epstein files. Defense chiefs have been urged to get on with it in stripping disgraced Andrew Mountbatten Windsor of his last remaining title. It has emerged that despite a request by the King for his younger brother to have his title of Vice Admiral of the Royal Navy removed, it has not yet been done. This persistent delay in removing the final vestige of his military honor highlights a bureaucratic struggle that complicates the monarchy's desperate attempt to finalize Andrew's complete exile from public life. Andrew served in the Royal Navy for 22 years and was a helicopter pilot in the Falklands War. He was awarded the honorary rank of Vice Admiral in February 2015 to mark his 55th birthday, in a move approved by his late mother, the Queen. This honorary rank was a recognition of his service, a distinction he had been due to have upgraded to Admiral in 2020. However, this move was scrapped in the wake of his car crash interview on BBC Newsnight, where he talked about his association with pedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein. The cancellation of the promotion was the first official sanction against him, signaling the monarchy's growing condemnation of his judgment. Bureaucracy versus moral urgency, the Vice Admiral delay. At the end of October, the King officially stripped his disgraced brother of his HRH style and his prince title, and removed his dukedom from the roll of the peerage over Andrew's serious lapses of judgment. The move followed the publication of a posthumous memoir by Andrew's accuser, Virginia Giuffre, and the U.S. government's release of documents from Epstein's estate. It emerged that Andrew had emailed Epstein in 2011 saying, "We're in this together," 3 months after he claimed he had broken all contact with the pedophile. Andrew denies all wrongdoing. In the days after the bombshell move, the Defense Secretary John Healey said the government would remove Andrew's Vice Admiral title. But the Ministry of Defense, MOD, says the process to remove the title is still ongoing, but it is not clear what stage it is at or the reason for the delay. However, Admiral Lord West, the former First Sea Lord and Chief of the Naval Staff, expressed professional frustration, stating it was extraordinary it was taking so long. He told the Sunday Times, "I cannot see why it is that difficult to remove it. He has paid a penalty for his stupid behavior and that is right. What I would not approve of is if he kept the title. They should just get on with it." Lord West's irritation stems from the fact that the MOD has demonstrated speed in other cases. For example, in July, Sir Ben Key, a former admiral and First Sea Lord, lost his rank swiftly after an affair with a junior female colleague was revealed. The comparison highlights the glaring lack of urgency in Andrew's case, suggesting that the procedural reluctance may be rooted in the highly sensitive political and royal nature of the decision. The looming threat: no special protection from Epstein files. The bureaucratic stalling occurs under the shadow of a far more potent threat: the release of explosive new documents. It comes as the explosive U.S. government Epstein files are set to be released in the coming weeks, with Andrew warned he will not receive any special protection. Despite alleged attempts in Washington to limit what becomes public, insiders say the former prince will not be spared, even as the White House reportedly moves to shield Donald Trump, senior Republicans and wealthy donors from exposure. This warning of no special protection is devastating for Andrew. It implies that while politically connected individuals may receive some mitigation in the document release, the former prince, having already been disgraced and stripped of his formal protection by the Crown, is now existentially exposed to the full force of the coming revelations. This information amplifies the political pressure for Andrew to testify before the U.S. Congress, a demand he has so far ignored. The final Christmas at Royal Lodge. Meanwhile, Andrew is also set to have his final Christmas at his Royal Lodge mansion in Windsor, before he is booted out of the property in the new year. The forced eviction, following reports he had barely paid rent, is the ultimate symbolic and physical dismantling of his life of privilege. The move will see him relocate to a much smaller property on the King's private Sandringham estate without his former wife, Sarah Ferguson. While the move was expected to happen as soon as practically possible in the new year, reports now suggest the departure could be delayed until February due to the logistical challenges of moving from such a grand home and the readiness of his new, smaller residence. The delay, though practical, ensures that Andrew's symbolic punishment is prolonged, forcing him to spend his final weeks in the Grand Mansion under the intense scrutiny of a public aware that his status, home, and titles are all but gone. The eventual move to the smaller property in Norfolk will cement his transition from powerful duke to isolated royal exile.